Do you want to launch a loyalty program? Then you land into the best possible video that you could find on YouTube for the topic. Hi, my name is George and I run Yoked, we're a lifecycle marketing agency. But importantly, I have Brian Ma with me, the co-founder of Bubblehouse, a loyalty and referrals platform that's working with some of the biggest brands in the world. And the topic of this video is, what would I do if I were launching a loyalty program today in 2026? So this is perfect if you're a brand owner and you're interested in launching loyalty. It's perfect if you're a lifecycle marketer and you want to work with a loyalty platform like Bubblehouse. And it's absolutely perfect if you are anywhere near retention and you want to figure out what's the best way to monetize and retain your customers over time. Brian, thank you for joining me.
Hey George, thanks for having me here. Excited to share a little bit more about us and our thoughts on loyalty referrals. But yeah, a brief little background on us. So Bubblehouse, we've been around for I'll say the past 3 years or so. We work with one of the fastest and largest growing brands in both D2C and e-com as well as retail as well. So, brands from American Girl, Old Spice, Mary Ruth, Everyday Dose, all the way to Brixton, Everyday, and, basically across all verticals. We're pretty agnostic when it comes to verticals and industries, and we are also very agnostic when it comes to different e-com platforms, POS systems, and tech stack across the board. But excited to share a little bit about our thoughts on loyalty, and hopefully we can bring some insights for the audience as well.
So let's start from the very beginning. If a founder came to you and said, "Hey, is loyalty for us?" Like, what would you look at first? How can you tell if someone should use loyalty?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, first of all, is the size of the brand. We do think that it does play into how impactful a loyalty system is, because the more customers you have, there's more lever to pull, basically. So, I would say any merchants who's doing above 1 million GMV is sort of the time when you like to start thinking about loyalty and retention overall as well. And secondly, I would say there are definitely certain types of products or brands that work a lot better with loyalty than those that don't. For example, I would say if you're selling products that people typically purchase every few years, like laptops or home appliances or furniture, I would say those sometimes could be less fit for loyalty. But if you're doing anything like skincare, supplements, wellness, food and beverage, fashion, anything that has a sort of medium to high velocity when it comes to your product turnovers, I think those are amazing fit for loyalty.
And do you also want the brand to have multiple SKUs, or can loyalty work if you just have like 3, 4, 5 core SKUs that you're selling?
Yeah, I would say if you have more than one, that would be perfect. But typically, I'd say the more you do, typically there's more impact that loyalty can bring. Because one of the key goals for loyalty is also basically category expansion for your customers. So it helps your customers discover the rest of the products and the SKUs that you're selling.
Makes sense. And the idea always being to make this tactical and useful for people that want to actually implement loyalty. Let's suppose that I do fill those criteria. I have a decent database. I do have a product that has this, velocity in how it's sold. How do I start? What do I do first?
Yeah, I'd say number one is to determine what sort of programs make sense for your customers. I think every brand has different set of goals and objectives. So I think first of all is identifying, what are your retention goals? What are the current behaviors of your customers? Are they only buying a single product, or are they, not coming back soon enough? Or are they churning at certain subscription milestones, certain points in their subscription cycle? Or, I think determining what are some key objectives you're trying to strike with loyalty, and then go from there.
Let's imagine that I have a subscription model and I want more people to take the subscription. And I also want them to, place that next order more quickly, or in some way monetize them more quickly. How would we go about this?
Yeah, I think there's several ways for how we power subscription brands. I think number one, a lot of them care about just purely customers signing up to a subscription. So I think incentivizing that behavior. So for example, signing up to a subscription will give you unlock a certain reward for you. It could be points, products, it could be, discounts, a mix of multiple things. And secondly is that retention, right? So it's reducing churn, making sure that people stay subscribed for longer. For that, we actually do a feature called the Milestone rewards, which basically means at different subscription cycles, customers are rewarded with different rewards. So let's say if month 1 to month 3 is the most volatile, which is what we've seen with most of our subscription brands, they tend to front load a lot of these rewards between the first few cycles where it's the most volatile. So that we've seen work really well as well. And I think rewards also a mechanism where you can help them explore other product categories too. So giving them points that they can redeem for free products in other categories, or you can gate those for certain VIP tiers, or you have to reach certain subscription cycles to get those free products. But yeah, there's multiple mechanics that you can work around.
And then on top of this, I guess like structural layer, which is how do we design our offer and how does loyalty fit into that offer to incentivize the right behavior? In this case, start subscription and stay subscribed. Would you say there's also a need to have ongoing campaign activity that is related to the loyalty program? For example, say campaigns on the calendar that reward certain behaviors. If you place a second order of this category this month, you're going to get extra loyalty points, like that type of thing.
Yeah, I'd say so. I say it's very important to keep your loyalty program like fresh, where customers don't feel like it's very stale. Every time they come back, there's something new and there's something exciting for them to look forward to. For example, on Black Friday, one of our merchants actually done this campaign, which is pretty interesting, where on customers' first order, they receive a certain amount of points, and with those points, a month after, they can use those to upgrade to a longer subscription cycle. So they purchase for a month, but they can use those points and basically turn that first purchase into a 3 or 6 month subscription. So there are many ways that you can play around with different campaigns and just designing different rules you feel like will work for best for the customers and what's at the end of the day is what kind of goals you're trying to achieve with loyalty.
Okay, so I guess the first step is diagnose what the brand wants to do and then create a strategy around achieving those goals. The second part is you want to have loyalty be integrated into the entire offer of the brand. For example, we use a subscription model as a reference. You would be rewarding subscribing with extra points or some other loyalty perk as opposed to not subscribing, which would not get you those perks. And then you also want to have regular touch points that actually keep the loyalty program top of mind and again nudge people to have the right behaviors. Is that correct in terms of like sequence?
Yeah, absolutely. I think making sure that the loyalty program is embedded into your entire marketing strategy is super important. That's what we typically see brands who succeed with loyalty do versus those who don't. So loyalty is not a system where it should be sitting siloed, and let's say the welcome offer for the entire store is different from the referrals offer, or it's lower than the referrals offer. Then all these offers needs to tie into one and strategically mapped out. And secondly, the integratedness of loyalty system is also super important. So you need to make sure the customer journey across their entire shopping experience is very consistent, where they can not just earn points through one-time purchases, they can earn points through subscriptions, where they can do one or the other, or they can redeem points in their customer portal as well as the loyalty landing page. And just making sure that the loyalty system is integrated across your tech stack, from subscription, emails, reviews, PLS, even support or mobile. So basically across the entire tech stack.
It almost sounds like loyalty requires AI, but like the old AI, which is actual intelligence, not artificial intelligence, to implement properly. So there's a lot of people in the space that say, oh, like loyalty doesn't work, or like point-based loyalty programs are just discounts and you're just giving discounts to people that would have bought otherwise. What's your response to that type of claim?
Yeah, I would say there are more mechanisms than points these days. We offer a whole suite of different things that you could do without sacrificing your brand equity. The most important thing that loyalty should be doing for brands, and in our experience does do for brands, is that it really helps drive those profitable behaviors from customers. And those behaviors ultimately become the most rewarding and natural ones as well. So it sort of creates this predictable and positive bias towards the brand, where customers will ultimately return sooner and choose you over your competition, be able to explore more of your product catalog, and just having that growing sense of loyalty towards the brand over time.
Basically, like the way I look at it, we work with subscription-based companies, so that's the lens through which I look at this. People often say that brands should try to create a habit around the products. Like the more the product is embedded into the daily life of the consumer, the more likely it is that they retain them. But I think what loyalty does is that it builds this extra layer on top of the potential habit that the consumer creates, which is like a system lock-in, because those points, those rewards essentially create a switch cost for the customer. If they go to another brand, now they're losing all of this money. Now they're losing all of this, I guess, emotional connection that can be built over time. Personally, I'm not too romantic, so I don't know how much emotional connection the average person has with the average brand. I know there's brands in your portfolio because you work with massive companies where that can be a real thing and a very big real thing. But I think even for new brands that are just starting out, simply the functional switch cost of having your customers locked essentially because of all of those extra perks that they get through loyalty, and then retaining them because they don't want to miss them out, is justified in and of itself. And I think another element to this is that people, at least from what I'm seeing, always say that you are giving a lot of money, a lot of margin through loyalty. But I think that's not necessarily true because the redemption rates are not 100%, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say redemption, if we're talking about giving out, let's say 5% cashback on all purchases, If redemption rate is between, let's say 30% of that means you're really only giving out 2%. And 30% I say is pretty standard for most brands. So yeah, like there's a true sort of cost to it as opposed to the nominal cost, which is 5%. The true cost is when you factor in the actual redemption. That's completely right.
So you have this cost, but what is the potential upside that the brand should be looking at? Like in terms of KPIs, first of all, what are the key KPIs to track and what is like a good goal to have as a company?
Yeah, so depending on different verticals have different sort of KPIs, I think that makes sense to them. I would say for subscription brands, it would definitely be LTV. So LTV is definitely number one, where you can see, sort of compare those that have participated in loyalty compared to those who haven't. And the same with the number of purchases per customer as well. And the AOV, I would say it'd be the third one that we look at. But most importantly is how much more is each customer spending with your brand and how many more times are they coming back and how quick are they coming back. So I think these are the top KPIs that we use to track.
What about loyalty tiers? You know how companies have like, I don't know, silver, gold, platinum, beginner, veteran, elite. I don't know like what the word is. Like, does this play a role? Is this important? Do you recommend this? Should we think in terms of those 3 tiers?
Yeah, for sure. I think loyalty tier is probably most relevant for fashion brands, fashion accessories, footwear and whatnot. I think a lot of times those brands, they have their brand equity that they need to protect, and they feel like certain times, giving out cashback or points could be sort of damaging to the brand equity. But I think that's when loyalty tiers works really, really well, where, you're sort of, a lot of times with these brands, they are massive customers who spends like 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 with the brand. And I think loyalty tier is a great mechanism to provide that exclusivity to the big spenders. A lot of different experiential sort of benefits that you can give. For example, like one-to-one digital styling sessions, or maybe it's a beauty makeup session, or it could be even in-store events. It could be, your priority support, where we integrate with a lot of help desk, where a customer on a higher tier will be placed with a tag where, their support tickets get dealt with first. It could be, even shipping benefits too, where, there's not a minimum for expedited shipping, or all across the board, basically. So there's a lot of experiential benefits that you can give through tiers. And I think tiers really promotes that sort of sense of exclusivity and that emotional sort of switching cost that you were referring to earlier as well.
Do you think the name of the tier matters? Like, to me, when I see silver, gold, platinum, I'm like, what is this? Does it matter?
I think it does, actually. I think it plays into the brand and makes it more branded, more integrated into the whole brand as well. I think it does play some sort of psychological tricks. I think generally it's just a good branding moment for a lot of brands as well. To, let's say, for example, we work with American girls and they call the silver, gold, and berry. And we always refer to them by these names. And I think the berry members are proud that they're berry members. The gold members are proud that they're gold members, and so on. So, but yeah, I think that's an interesting call-out though.
What about the word loyalty itself? For example, the word subscription is kind of like a dirty word. People don't want to be subscribed to things. So you will typically see greater subscription take rate if you say something like, I don't know, replenishment or like something like this. Does the loyalty word work, or like do you recommend another, like membership, for example?
Yeah, so again, I think it depends what kind of verticals. But generally speaking, I would say loyalty works. Loyalty works great. I think membership works great as well. If you're more focused on giving the idea of exclusivity, creating that sense of exclusivity within the brand, I think membership is an amazing name. But I think generally speaking, loyalty, all customers want to be in the loyalty. I feel like if I were to shop somewhere, I would love to be in the loyalty. If I could build sort of my progress with the brand, build a history with the brand, and earn rewards at the same time, there's, both that economical and emotional reasons to sort of stay with them.
The people that watch this video, meaning the people that gravitate to the videos that I publish, tend to be on the smarter side, I'd say. So I think a question they would have is, what brands have strong loyalty programs, so that they can then check those brands and like try to reverse engineer what they do well? Do you have like any examples that you would recommend that people take a look at?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say American Girl is definitely one that was one of the best managed loyalty programs that we've seen across our brands that we work with. They do a lot of campaigns. I think that's very important, keeping things very fresh and consistent, and making sure that your campaigns align with product launches or specific marketing campaigns that they have going on. For example, this year is their, I think, 40th year anniversary, so they're doing a lot of campaigns around there. They do a lot of different collabs with like Disney or like Barbie, and these different product launches align them with the loyalty campaigns as well. And they also have brick and mortar stores. They also have retail as well. So aligning those with retail, so driving more in-store traffic as well. So it really is a sort of integrated experience where it's not just sitting on siloed and kind of doing.
I think that's a very key thing, right? Like to have the loyalty program be part of everything else that the company does, starting like the landing pages, the emails, the customer portals, in every online channel, but also offline channels. I think that really is the key in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And email is crucial, by the way, in this whole thing. It's one of the biggest distribution method of getting the words out with loyalty. For example, we have this flow called the monthly statement or monthly reminder, where every month we send you a statement of available rewards that are in your balance, and maybe there's certain rewards that are about to expire, or basically a statement of your loyalty status. That tends to be by far the best performing flows that we've seen in loyalty, and it could really be ranked top of the revenue generated flow for a lot of shops as well.
Fantastic. Where can people find more about Bubblehouse? And also, how does Bubblehouse work? Like, what is the offer that people could expect? Like, how does it all work?
Yeah, so typically we'll start by working on that diagnostic step with you. So sort of getting a better understanding of your brand and what your goals are and how your customers behave. And from there, we'll do a strategy session where we sort of put together some strategic and tactical recommendations based on what we're seeing on your back, as well as the qualitative stuff that you've communicated to us. And yeah, we'll map out the entire program for you to see what can make sense for you. And then it's really a collaborative effort from start to finish. So from strategy to design to implementation to launch to campaign planning post-launch and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a very collaborative process, very white glove sort of servicing that we do for our brands. And in terms of where you can find us, feel free to reach out to us on bubblehouse.com. Feel free to book a demo. One of our reps will definitely be in touch and show you what we can do, and we'd love to learn a little bit more about how we can partner with you guys as well.
I want to say here that Brian, throughout this conversation, has actually been, I would argue, humble, too humble even. The level of service that he offers to our CERT clients is second to none. I've had multiple clients thank me for introducing them to Bubblehouse, and I happen to be in a position, luckily, to be working with a lot of technology companies, and I really do want to say that it's very unusual that a technology company provides such a good service, not just technology, but service, that brands go out of their way to thank you for connecting them. So I give my complete and full endorsement to Bubblehouse. In terms of what's next, loyalty, future, AI, I don't know, what do you see coming?
I see one-to-one loyalty offers, one-to-one loyalty promotions, whatever you want to call it. But basically, it's not just, I know personalized is a word that people have been throwing around forever, for years, but we're talking about one-to-one. So I think that's really something that AI can enable. Everything that your customer sees will be fitted just for them. And, all the offers, campaigns, like everything could be truly one-to-one. I think that is what AI, the scalability of AI, the automation of AI, I think the power of AI really unlocks this category of type of loyalty and promotion rewards that was definitely not achievable before. But that's something that we're super excited about going forward.
And I also want to ask you one more thing. Just like myself, you are connected to a lot of other companies. You have a good view of the market. What other platforms would you recommend people look at? Not obviously competitors of Bubblehouse, but like just more so from a retention standpoint, what's worth paying attention to? Do you see any companies that do exciting things that people should pay attention to?
Yeah, I think so, for sure. We were actually just talking about this the other day. I thought Envive is actually doing something pretty interesting. They're AI sales sort of agent, where it's like their personal shopper. Let's say if you're a skincare brand, you can go on and ask, oh, is this right for my skin? Like what type of skin, I have, and where do I live? Or, whatever could factor into your purchasing decision. I think they're doing an excellent job on, really innovating on that front and bringing, something a little bit different and really helping to, again, personalize sort of the experience. But yeah, I think that's something that we found super, super exciting.
Awesome. Well, Brian, I want to thank you for taking the time to walk us through how loyalty works. Hopefully you took some golden nuggets after you watched this. You can find Brian on bubblehouse.com. Brian, I believe you're also fairly active on LinkedIn, and people can also find you there. And if you need help with loyalty, again, my opinion is that you can't go wrong with the Bubblehouse team. At the very least, they're going to give you a qualified opinion on whether loyalty is right for you or not. Thank you for watching.